My name is Elena. I am 35 years old and I work in a small, quiet library. I live in a very peaceful town with my husband, Mark. We have a very big, beautiful house. The garden is always green and full of pretty flowers. Our neighbors often see us from the street. They tell us that we are the perfect couple. They see our smiles and our expensive home. They think our life is like a happy fairy tale, but they only see the outside. From the outside, my life with Mark looks wonderful. I tried to believe it was perfect, too. I really tried. But deep inside, I felt like a stranger. I felt like I was living someone else's life. In our house, there is a small room that I never open. It holds a very big secret. It is a part of me that I locked away a long time ago. Inside that room, there is an old violin case and a book of music I never finished. But nobody knows about that. Nobody knows about the promise I buried there. That promise changed everything for me. 10 years ago, our life was very different. We lived in a tiny apartment on the third floor. It was not a big place, but it felt like a real home. It always smelled like fresh coffee and old wooden floors. We did not have much money back then, but we had very big dreams. I thought our future was full of bright light and hope. We used to sit on the floor for many hours. We would talk about the future. Mark talked about his own cafe. He wanted a place with warm lights and happy people. I showed him my music. I played my violin for him every night. He looked at me with so much love in his eyes. He said my music made him feel peaceful. One evening he held my hand very tightly. His eyes were bright with hope. "Elena," he said softly, "please help me build my cafe first, just for a few years. When the business is successful, I will help you open your own music school. I promise you, Elena." I believed him with all my heart. So I put my violin in its case. I put my big dream in a dark box. I worked 2 jobs every single day. I worked very hard. I saved every dollar to help him. I thought I was building our future together. Now we live in this big, beautiful house. Our dream came true, or so I thought. Mark's Cafe is very famous in our town now. It is always busy and full of happy people. Our life looks perfect to everyone else, but inside our house is always very quiet. The walls of our home are empty and white. There is no music playing here anymore. My violin strings are old. My music books are covered in dust. Everything is locked away in that small room. My old dreams and his forgotten promise are hiding there together. I knew something very important was lost, but for a long time I was too scared to look for it. The years passed by in a very quiet rhythm. I went to the library every morning. Mark went to his cafe every morning. Our life was safe and comfortable, but my heart felt so heavy. It felt like the music in my world had stopped. The bright colors had faded into a dull gray. I knew I was not happy, but I did not know how to change it. Then one afternoon something happened. I was walking home from work at the library. I passed a small music shop on the corner. In the window, I saw a beautiful set of violin strings. They looked like silver threads in the sun. For a short moment, a spark of joy returned to my heart. I remembered the feeling of the wood against my shoulder. That evening, I decided to be brave. I told Mark about the shop. I tried to sound very calm and casual. We were sitting at the dinner table. Mark, I said softly, I saw some violin supplies I like today. They were not very expensive at all. He did not look up from his phone. Lilina, we need to save our money right now, he said. The cafe needs new ovens. He did not even ask me how much they cost. He just said no. I felt a familiar coldness inside my chest. I did not argue with him or get angry. I just nodded and cleaned the table. My small spark of hope was gone again. But a few days later, Mark came home with a small gift for me. It was a beautiful book about the history of music. I had wanted this book for a very long time. I saw this and I thought of you, he said with a big smile. For a moment, I thought he still remembered the old Elena. A tiny bit of warmth returned to my heart. I told myself that maybe he was just stressed from his work at the cafe. I wanted to believe that this was just a small problem. He still cares about me, I whispered to myself in the dark. I thought that maybe, just maybe, things would get better soon. The next week, the library made a big announcement. They were hosting a music night for the whole town. My heart started to beat very fast. It was just a small local event, but it felt like a door was opening for me. I thought to myself, maybe I can play my violin again. That night I was so excited. I could not wait to tell Mark. I found him in the living room. He was sitting on the couch watching TV. Mark, the library is having a music night. I think I want to join and play, I said. My voice was full of hope. He turned his head to look at me. He was not angry or mean. He just looked amused. A small smile was on his lips. That is nice, honey, he said slowly. But aren't you a little old for a talent show for kids? His words hit me like a heavy stone. I felt all the air leave my body. A talent show for kids. That is what he thought of my beautiful dream. I felt so small and so foolish. I could not speak a single word. I just turned around and walked away. After that night, I stayed very quiet. I did not mention the music night again. I went to work at the library every day. I put the books back on the shelves in order. I liked the silence in the library. It was a peaceful silence, but the silence in our home was very different. It felt heavier and colder every single day. Mark and I said nothing to each other. We were like two strangers living in a big house. I started to accept that this was my future. I thought I knew how my story would end, quiet, safe, and empty. But I was wrong. I was completely wrong. That was only the beginning of the real story. Then one Saturday, everything changed. The sky was dark gray and a soft rain was falling outside. I decided to clean the dusty storage room at the back of our house. It was a small room full of old things we never used. In a dark corner, I found a small wooden box. My fingers touched the dusty lid. It felt heavy with secrets. I opened it slowly. Inside were old photos from our first years together. I saw our young smiling faces. For a moment my heart really ached. Under the photos there was a stack of letters. They were tied together with a faded blue ribbon. I knew the handwriting immediately. It was from Mark. I picked one up. The paper was soft and yellow with age. I started to read his words. As I read, my hands started to shake. My heart beat so fast I thought it would break. I could not breathe. I had to sit down on the cold, dusty floor. The words on the page were like a ghost from a life I forgot. The letter said, "My dearest Alina, your music is our real future. One day your songs will fill our beautiful home. My cafe is just the first step. Your dream is the real goal, I promise." Tears ran down my face. I read the words again and again. A man wrote this, a man who loved my music. I whispered to the empty room, "Where is that man now?" I sat on the cold floor for a very long time. The rain outside became a loud storm. The letters in my hands felt like small pieces of my own heart. I finally understood something very important. Mark did not forget his promise. He chose to ignore it. He chose his own success over our shared dream. When Mark came home that night, the house was dark. I did not turn on the lights. I was sitting at the kitchen table with the letters in front of me. He walked in and looked surprised. "Elena, why are you sitting in the dark?" I did not answer him right away. I just pushed the old letters toward him. He looked at the papers and his face turned very white. He knew what they were. "I found these in the storage room," I said. My voice was very quiet but firm. "Do you remember writing these? Do you remember what you promised me?" Mark sighed and sat down. He looked very tired. "Zelina, that was a long time ago," he said. "We were just kids back then. We did not know how the real world worked. Things change. Life is different now." His words were like ice. He did not say sorry. He did not say he was wrong. He just wanted me to forget the past and be happy with our big empty house. "It is not different for me," I said. A tear fell onto the table. "I worked 2 jobs for you. I put my music in a box for you. I waited 10 years. And now you tell me that my dream was just a childish idea." Mark did not look at me. He looked at the floor. "We have a good life, Alina." "You have a good life, Mark," I corrected him. "You have your cafe and your fame. But I am still waiting in that small apartment from 10 years ago." I stood up and left the room. I did not want to hear his excuses anymore. I went straight to the small room I never opened. I turned the key. The air inside was old and heavy. I walked to the corner and picked up my violin case. The wood was cold. I opened the case and looked at the instrument. It looked sad and lonely. I touched the strings softly. They made a tiny broken sound. It was the first music in our house for many years. I realized that I was waiting for Mark to give me permission to be happy. I was waiting for him to remember his promise, but I was the guardian of my own soul. I did not need his help to play my music. I did not need his cafe to feel successful. I took a deep breath. I knew what I had to do now. I took the violin out of the case. I held it against my shoulder. It felt strange but also very familiar, like an old friend coming home. I started to play a simple scale. My fingers were stiff and slow, but the sound was real. The music was coming back to life. As I looked at the clock, it was late, but I did not care about the time. I felt a new kind of power inside me. I was not the quiet librarian anymore. I was Alina the musician, and my story was finally beginning again. I knew that tomorrow would be a very different day for us. The next morning I woke up very early. I did not make breakfast for Mark. I went to the small room. I picked up my violin and practiced for many hours. I remembered the music night at the library. I knew I had to go. I needed to do this for the girl I used to be. I was not scared anymore. When the evening came, I put on my favorite dress. I took my violin case. I walked to the door. Mark was standing in the hallway looking very confused. "Where are you going, Alina?" he asked. His voice was small and quiet. I looked at him and I felt a deep peace. "I am going to the library, Mark. I am going to play my music." He started to say something, but I walked past him. I walked down the street. The stars were beginning to shine in the sky. When I arrived, the library was full of many people. My heart was pounding, but when it was my turn to stand on the stage, all the fear went away. I began to play the melody I never finished 10 years ago. The sound was beautiful and clear. It filled the whole room. People stopped talking to listen. I realized that my dream was not dead. It was just waiting for me. When I finished, the room was quiet. Then everyone began to clap very loudly. I saw Mark at the back of the room. He was watching me very closely. For the first time in many years, he really saw the real me. We have a lot of things to talk about now. Our life will change. I am learning that a house is not a home without your soul inside. Sometimes stories are like mirrors. They show us our own lives. In our busy world, many people put their dreams on a high shelf for others. We make big promises, but then those promises get lost in the noise of daily life. This story teaches us a very powerful lesson about our own dreams. Mark's mistake was neglect. He stopped seeing Elena as a partner with her own dreams. He saw her only as a helper for his own cafe. This is a trap many people fall into. Your dusty violin might be a hobby or talent. It is part of you. Do not give it away for someone else. You must be the guardian of your own happiness. Do not wait for a reminder. Do not wait for someone else to remember your dream. Do not wait for permission. Take a moment today. What is your forgotten song? It is never too late to open doors. Your dreams are a vital part of who you are. Have you ever had to choose between a dream and a relationship? Please share your story. Your support helps these stories come to life every single day. Thank you.